Hey there, patrons! Welcome to another week in the shop. I've got a cool new thing behind me, this shiny black monolith. This is the Moai 200 resin 3D printer. Our pals over at MatterHackers hooked us up with the fine folks at Peopoli and sent us this machine to try out. We're going to do at least one video on it. That's the plan anyway. There's a little bit of a hiccup. This machine needs to stay warm, and our shop kind of warm, but it doesn't stay warm, especially not overnight. And if we're running this machine at night, I want to make sure it stays warm. I also have another issue with another resin printer. I have my Form 2 down there. That thing's a champ. It's been working awesome, but I just bought some third-party resin. What's this stuff over here? Digital Forge 3D. They sell their own resin. Our friends at Level 52 Studios recommended that stuff, so I wanted to give it a try, but that machine, the Form 2, if you run a third-party resin, you have to run it in open mode, and it works just fine. However, the heater won't run. I don't know why. That's just how it is. So that machine needs to be heated as well. So I figured, why not build an enclosure for both of these resin printers? That way they'll stay warm. I have a couple of other bits over here. For the warming, I got a heat lamp. It's just a bulb you would put in a reptile cage to warm it up. To make sure it doesn't overheat, I got this thing. This is a thermometer. It's got a little thermometer probe right there. That'll go in the enclosure, and we'll give it a temperature range. If it gets too cold, it turns the light on. If it gets too hot, it turns the light off. That's the plan anyway. We'll see how it turns out. This is all so far only existed in my head. Today, what I need to do is I'm gonna make a rolling cart for both of these machines so I can have some shelves on it to store materials and resin. We have, for all our 3D printers, we have an uninterruptible power supply hiding back there. I'll have to get another one for these two machines. This way I can roll these two printers wherever I want in the shop, put them in a corner while they're printing, leave them alone, but they'll be mobile. That is the plan. I think I have all the materials I need, so I'm gonna start laying out the cart and building it. Come along for the journey, won't you? Here's what I'm thinking. Here are the two printers. This is what it'll look like from the front. I wanna make the two printers like head height, so the form's a little smaller, so it'll be up higher. These are all 2x4s. This will be a little shelf area. I can put this is gonna control the timer and the heater. That'll be in this shelf here. I'm testing out my heat lamp here. It's putting out some nice warm heat, so that's great. 2x4s, the shelves will just use some plywood or OSB or something to set everything on. And then I'll probably have a bigger shelf down here for like storage. And most of the tools and stuff I think might sit up there. We'll see, but this gives us some options. The depth of it, this is for figure out the depth, has to accommodate this fella. It's 17 inches deep, and this guy's only 13 inches deep. So it's got to be able to accommodate that. And then I'm thinking the heat lamp will be in between the two of them pointing up. And the foam I'm going to use to build an enclosure, this stuff here, has a shiny side. So I'm going to put that on the inside. Hopefully that'll bounce this light around, the heat around. I keep everything nice and warm in there. Next thing I need to do is start cutting up some 2x4s. I have my 2x4s ready to go. I got my tiny little miter saw here. I also built this. Check this out. This is just some 2x4s I ripped to the appropriate thickness and put a piece of plywood on there. This is the same height as this, so that when I put a big long piece of 2x4 on there, I have a little out feed, so that when I cut this, it doesn't do that. Not an ideal setup. I would love to have a real miter saw station, but for now this will probably work just fine. All I have to do is measure my parts, start cutting them out. Whoops. What did I do? Oh, I broke the head off. Wow. I've never done that before. Not with that kind of screw anyway. All right. Here's what I have so far. The cart is all built for the most part. Figure shelf down here for supplies and tools. The printers look like they're pretty good. I like this height. If I need to go in, get everything good to go. The next thing I need to do is build the enclosure that'll go over it. And I have this stuff. Foam with shiny side. The trick here is I still need to be able to get at the printers, right? And I want to be able to see them as well. You can see this one, you can't really see into that, but it'd still be nice to have a window. What I'm thinking is, I need to be able to take the entire enclosure off so that I can open the form. Whereas this guy goes like so. So I'm thinking the front will have a window on it. I have a sheet of acrylic that'll work great. I could maybe use magnets to hold that on temporarily, and then if I need to get in there while the machine's running, I could pop that off. But then this stuff is light enough where I can take the whole top off if I have to. So I'm gonna tinker a little bit and see what I come up with. Ta-da! This is what I have so far. All these panels are just loosely taped together. I think it's gonna work. So I'm gonna tape everything together using my aluminum tape here. So I'll tape up the entire length of each seam so that no heat can get out. And then I need to figure out a way to get at the machines. And I think I'm just gonna make a lid on the top that rotates up for the whole thing. Thought about making a separate door for that guy and a lid for this one, but then I thought, why not just make a lid so that the whole thing goes up. Good news is, this looks like it's gonna work. Made a lot of progress. I spray painted everything, just gray primer, so it looks nice. And I added safety stripes, because that makes everything better. Now, I need to figure out the lid. I want the top half of this to hinge up, and I built it complete so that everything lines up, and then now I'm gonna go in and cut the lid part. Here's my drawing for that. The hinge will be in the back, and then this dotted line is where I'm gonna cut. This lower part here is so that we can get down at the controls of the Moai. A lot of this actually may end up getting covered by a window, so that may end up just being totally replaced at some point, but I'm pretty confident right now I can go in and cut this apart. I'll go measure everything and cut it apart, and then have a hinging lid. That's where it is right now. Feeling really good about this so far. Oh, I also added, may not be obvious, there's a little strip of wood down here. Oh, it's kind of hard to see. There you go. I added a lip on the inside so that this has something to register to, and then I can drive screws through the foam with some washers to pull it in so that the bottom half of this will be locked to the cart. It won't shift or anything, and should provide a nice seal so no hot air gets out. I'll catch up with you in just a little bit. So here's where I'm at with the enclosure. Obviously done a lot of work since we last tuned in. Cut some windows. Well, I cut the lid actually. I'll show you that in a second. But I want to show my windows. Very nice. I can see the Form 2. I can see the Moai. Really good. I can see the controls and everything down there. And then I cut the lid, put it on a hinge. And the hinge is just duct tape. I don't know if it'll need to be more robust later. But the whole thing hinges. I have a chain. Whoop. To keep that open. There we go. It's a little delicate. The part way up there where the chain is grabbing is quite flimsy. I'm thinking I might put a strip of metal across the whole thing to sturdy it up. I may have to do that in a couple more parts on here because this foam is just not structurally sound. And I imagine opening and closing this a lot will eventually wear it down. So I may have to reinforce some parts, but I'm at a place now where I can get my heat lamp hooked up, my little heat lamp here, plug these in, and then do some test prints. That's gonna happen over the next couple of days. It won't make it into this vlog. I'm already a day late on the vlog anyway, so I'm gonna get this wrapped up so that you guys can watch it. But you'll see plenty more of this in the future, so long as everything goes well. Tomorrow I'm gonna do some test prints and we'll see how it goes. Anyway, that's it for this week. I know this is pretty much all I did in the vlog. I haven't touched the free range chicken in a couple weeks, but I'll get back to that as soon as possible. And just show you where he is. Looking pretty good. So still more work to do on this guy, and I'll get to that hopefully next week. But for now, I'm calling this pretty good. I'm really excited to start playing, especially with this machine. Anyway, that's gonna do it for the vlog. Thank you again so much for the support. You guys are awesome. Let me know if you have any questions about this thing in the comments on Patreon. And of course, if you think there might be any problem with anything I've done with this build, like enclosing an SLA printer, using a heat lamp and a timer, I haven't tested this yet, so I have no idea if it's gonna work, but if you think I maybe missed something or if you have any concerns, please let me know. I always love hearing your feedback. All right, that'll do it. I'm gonna probably go try and figure out where this is gonna go and get these machines plugged in. All right, take care guys, see you next week.